guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kira the doll, back for yet another video. As you guys can see, today's video is going to be about the downfall of baddies. So first things first, we're going to start off from the very beginning, which was the BGC days. And we're going to speak specifically about Natalie's season because Natalie is seen as the face of baddies. So Natalie was on BGC season 4, which is on Tubi, which is free to watch for everyone to go see with your own eyes. So you can see that I'm not just fabricating things. This is all real tea because I went back to watch it just to give you guys the true tea. So watching her season back was very eye-opening to the fact that today Natalie is profiting from black people, and it's literally exploitation. I feel like exploitation is the downfall of the show. During her season, she shows her dislike towards black people. However, Natalie is one of them people that possibly and most likely doesn't even like herself. That's why she needs all of these material things and status to feel some type of power. Because when you go back to her season, she wasn't just, we're not just going to say that she was like this way towards the black people. She was like this towards the white people, the black people, everybody. And that's the thing about white people is white people are hate, like they can be very hateful, and black people feel as though they're just hateful towards us. No, they're hateful towards each other as well. So that's just the vibe that she gives, just very hateful. And this, it breeded many of the problems and the issues that came about during the Baddies franchise, and we're going to get into it. So you might ask, why, what made Natalie such a fan favorite? What made Natalie have so much clout to keep coming back to different seasons, different versions? What made them want to keep bringing her back? But it was just the fact that Natalie brought the ratings, and Natalie was one of the most manipulative girls on her season. Like, she was able to be the puppet master of her house and, you know, bring the views. So she was exploited. So the same way that she exploits these girls who literally probably need some help was the same way that she was exploited back in the day. Because at the end of the day, Natalie is her, the young version of Natalie is similar to the Krishans and the Summers. These girls need help. Like, mentally, they need help. Spiritually, or whatever other aspect. They don't need a camera in front of them. They need help. Stunner Girl, she needs help. These girls are literally spiraling and being recorded for entertainment, quote unquote. So after the Bad Girls Club franchise basically dies off, Natalie and a few other bad girls shown in this clip, Rocky, Shannon, Jada, Christina, and Sarah, they all come together and think it's a great idea to attempt to make a spin-off of the Bad Girls Club franchise, which further explains how Baddies will never be Natalie's show. Natalie will never have full ownership of Baddies because it is a spin-off. That's number one. And for number two, the same way how Lemmy's being exposed for stealing Zeus, and he's basically in a legal dispute with other parties who have claimed to have started the business deal together just to be bamboozled out of their shares in business dealings, the same way how Natalie can be considered to have done to these girls right here. She's made millions while these girls have made nothing from the Baddies franchise that they all came together. I truly believe that all darkness comes to light, and I have been actively vocal since 2021 regarding Zeus Network stealing our project that we started as a group in 2021 and 2020. Myself, Sarah, Natalie, Christina, Rocky, and Shannon. We all got together in 2020 to bring BGC back for the fans on the OF platform. During that time, I have expressed multiple times that Zeus Network showed up, expressed interest, and decided that they wanted to move forward with taking our project to their network.
I also want to add that a lot of people are like, oh, but it wasn't your idea. This was Natalie's idea, and, she deserves full recognition. Well, let me point out that tons of people have ideas that go nowhere. Without our group getting together and showing Zeus the potential, her idea really didn't have any legs to stand on. Also, if you were around back in 2020 and you watched the footage, Natalie tried to stir up and have Sarah fight me over a bedroom. Why did she do that? So that Zeus could see this type of content, right? So obviously Sarah had no interest in fighting me over a bedroom, because at that point she's like, why? I'm over this. This is like not what I signed up for. So who ultimately got involved in fighting me was Natalie, because she knew she needed to show Zeus something, right? So I took that L. I fought her for the room. Who else was giving Zeus any entertainment? Me. Moving forward, we did the conversation. Who did she decide to fight during the conversation? Again, me. So what did Zeus really have to see? Her project was an idea, yes, and I'll give her that, but it had no legs to stand on without us getting together, investing our own money in this project to bring her idea into fruition. And ultimately, that project was stolen and given to Zeus. And now she so-called is like the boss behind it, the brains behind it, and nobody seems to understand that without us being involved, all she had was an idea. She's had that idea for years. It went nowhere. Moving forward, D Storm recently posted a video expressing how the network was not started by Lemmy. Yes, it was his idea, but without their connections with Amanda Cierney, King Bach, and himself, and their connections with other individuals that ultimately projected the app to get the attention that it did, it was still just remained an idea. So now he refuses to give them their accolades or their portion of the company, so they're going through litigation. And this is just little by little, people are starting to come out and express the things that have happened to them involving Zeus, and either projects or ideas that were stolen from them, or positions that they were promised were taken from them. And I firmly believe that more darkness will come to light. I feel like it's going to take one girl to come out and express what has happened with Lemmy and the trafficking that goes on within that network, to bust everything open and give the strength for other females to stand up, similar to the Diddy case. Cassie spoke up, opened the door for many other females to speak out. So I hope, if you're a girl that has been affected by Lemmy and not paid off, like he tends to pay off a lot of women to keep their mouth shut, that you have the strength to come forward, because you will open the door for many other women to speak forward on what has happened to them. Christina was a victim from the start when they showed up in Atlanta. They knew what Christina was going through. Christina was dealing with a lot then, and Lemmy and Natalie decided to take advantage of her. More things happened to her moving forward after that I can't express. That's her story to tell. However, it's deplorable. And she's not the only victim. There's many other women before Zeus even became popular like it is now that have been a victim of Lemmy. So for anybody on here who's confused about the situation, I can understand that maybe you weren't around in 2020. You didn't see the effort that we put into this project. But I will tell you that ideas are just ideas. Okay? He had an idea for an app. She had an idea for a show. But it took the people that got involved to back that idea to make them where they're at today. So I implore you to use some critical thinking when you're in my comments trying to come and attack me and say, oh, but this was all Natalie's idea. I've never negated the fact that she had an idea. What I'm saying is that her idea had no legs to stand on without all of us getting together, investing our money and making an LLC, creating an operating agreement, and getting that footage out there so that Zeus could come, step all over it, and decide, we could see this going somewhere, and make promises they ultimately knew they couldn't keep, and they knew they were going to steal the show the moment they left and went back to California. So if you're a girl watching this and you've been affected, I implore you to have the strength to step up and speak your truth. Sorry, I'm in New York. You gotta love the background noise here. Hopefully everybody's okay. But yeah, speak your truth. You will open the door for other women to have the strength to speak their truth. And moving forward, like I said, all darkness comes to light. We know that Natalie has been taking girls to Dubai doing horrific things way before Zeus. And Zeus is just like Diddy 2.0. So the empire will crumble.
These girls have been very adamant about coming out about this stuff. They even Rocky and Christina were even on Now That's TV talking about it. But we're gonna get back to the story on the downfall of baddies. I feel like that's a whole different tangent. But starting with Baddies ATL, you can see Natalie didn't have the ability to flex that she has now. Her style was different, it was more raunchy, and it was definitely cheap, y'all. Versus now after the rise of Zeus. Further back in the claim of her making a lot of money from this show and the other girls making nothing. But anyways, Baddies ATL was the only season with all former bad girls, not including Sydney Starr, but it was also one of the best seasons content wise and entertainment wise. It resembled Bad Girls Club the most. They had constant activities and it felt more unified. They all stayed in one house like the original Bad Girls Club. In this season, what you see is former bad girls have outgrown themselves in their own lives versus Natalie. She seems like not much has changed. She lacks character development from her first season in 2009, where she was about 21 years old. On her original season, you notice her manipulation tactics, which she carries into today. How she makes friends from her connections and her power, just like on Baddies today. On Bad Girls Club season 4, Natalie made friends by having power, knowing well known people, and people just wanting to be around her for her status. Natalie learned very early on that character can be overridden by what you have to certain people who don't got integrity and morals, which is about the majority of people. However, during this season, Baddies ATL, you notice many of the bad girls are not them typical selves. They seem a little disassociated with the show in totality. I feel like this can show the instant discomfort associated with Zeus. Many of these girls picked up on the weary energy from the beginning. The thing that a lot of you guys don't understand about people like Natalie is just because someone can make you laugh or feel good, don't mean that their character should be overlooked. Once you realize she has something to prove, then you realize why she goes so hard. She has this persona of being a semi Kardashian while she's still working in overdrive at 40 years old. I'm not saying that you should stop working, but you're working so hard when you're young so you can be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor when you get older. So now we move on to Baddies South, which was really the rise of Baddies, period. Krishan made this show. She was the star. And you also had very cringe characters on this season as well, like Anne. I thought Anne was so cringe, and it was the start of this humiliation sort of vibe from these cast members on this show. It was to the point that Anne felt embarrassed for the way that she acted on this season. And you could just read it all on her face in interviews and things of that sort that you see her in. And to the point that Anne don't even want to be associated with Baddies. Like, she just fell off the face of the earth after being on Baddies. So I feel as though this showed during Baddies ATL as well, but Baddies South, you see more and more of Natalie's jealousy towards women. She is almost like a pick me woman or a misogynistic woman. So on this season, you could tell Natalie was very jealous towards, envious towards Krishan from the beginning. It seems as though Natalie's own insecurities and jealousy was the true downfall because it holds her back from building more genuine connections with the cast members. This is why this fake character narrative of Natalie is always displayed. She's highly manipulative, which also is shown on her season of the All Star battles. I noticed this manipulation in the first season, which is difficult to explain because when a person is being shady and doing underhanded things. However, on Betty South, the clear manipulation is the envy showed towards Krishan which ended in Krishan Ultimate's crash outs throughout the show. People bonded with Natalie over their dislike for Krishan during Baddies South. For example, Persuasion. Persuasion only felt comfortable enough to try rock because she was kikiing with Natalie. Now, Natalie manipulated both Persuasion and Krishan, playing both sides, pretending to be both of their friends while obviously having a strong dislike for Krishan. Natalie breeded the environment for the girls to feel comfortable to attempt to disrespect Krishan. One thing I found very odd about this season was how Scotty was brought in about episode 4 and it was nobody to be replaced. And here's the kicker, you guys. This is the first season with new faces. It almost felt like this was Natalie's plan all along. It almost felt like Natalie Ben was planning to bring Scotty on here. Like I said, this was her plan all along. So not only does Scotty get mysteriously brought on to this season, but she comes back for what, 5, 6 plus seasons back to back. This don't seem pretty calculated to y'all. I feel like the amount of power that Natalie has essentially contributed to the downfall of Baddies because, for example, this is the first season with new girls. For one, why is Natalie a cast member? The fact that Natalie is a cast member takes away her credibility and her power in her title of the show. Like, let's compare this to Jocelyn's Cabaret. Jocelyn is not a part of the cast. Jocelyn is a part of the cast, but she has a definite title that ranks her above these girls and gives her a respect when it comes to these girls that Natalie just doesn't have. Hey, let's be real. Jocelyn don't even stay in the house with the girls. Them girls know for a fact Jocelyn ain't the one, the two, or the three. But them girls on Baddies, they be playing all with Natalie. Why? Because Natalie wants to be their friend and not their boss. Natalie has something to prove. But Jocelyn, she don't got nothing to prove. Cause guess what? Y'all already know. Y'all know what's up. You know, ain't nothing to be proved. And the thing is, Natalie been in the game longer than Jocelyn. So Natalie should have that same energy to her. But Natalie, I feel like it's like a self-esteem thing. Because nobody can tell Jocelyn that she ain't the SHIT. Sugar honey. She ain't it. She is. But Natalie, her validation comes externally, not internally. That's the difference. Because if y'all remember correctly, Baddie South, a lot of the girls eventually turned against Natalie, including Jayla. Jayla, one of her biggest minions, you know, she even turned against Natalie during Baddie South. Rolly fought Natalie during Baddie South. It was a clear disdain for Natalie, as always. And one thing I want to mention about Jayla, I've been wanting to get this off my chest for a while, but Jayla gives groupie. Jayla gives groupie. On Baddie South, she wasn't on Natalie's side. Why? Because there was a new sheriff in town, Krishan, the star. She's a groupie, baby. When them twins came back on what season was it? I think it was Caribbean, I think. She was a groupie. Like, I'm just like, Jayla is such a groupie, yo. And that's why she's all up Natalie's behind. Cause she's a groupie. All of Natalie's friends are one and the same. Even Scotty. Scotty is a mini Natalie. Y'all be, oh, Scotty is such a sweet girl. Like, Scotty is a sweet girl, but Scotty is a mini Natalie. Like, don't let her fool y'all. Please. And what do you mean by exploitation? I thought some of you might ask. This the season that Krishan gets arrested. Talk about exploitation. And some of the last things I wanted to point out about this season was the fact that it had less cast members, which made the season better in the long run, because as we go down the line with the seasons to come, that started to ruin the show. The fact that it was less cast members, and not only that, but these cast members had bigger personalities, it made the show more intriguing to watch. And at the end of the day, things like Krishan getting arrested, I feel like this shouldn't have been exploited to the extent that it was. Just like I don't feel like her pregnancy should have been exploited to the extent that it was, and her love life shouldn't have been exploited to the extent that it was. But however, at the end of the day, Krishan has a good personality, and outside of all of those things that were exploited about her life, she still brought personality to the show. And as much as a lot of us don't want to admit it, she did bring personality to the show. But at the same time, okay, she is a bad person. She is. We we want to overlook the fact that she made Baddie South what it was just because she's a bad person. But at the end of the day, all of these girls that came after Krishan are trying to be just like her. And that's the problem. Krishan could fight. So these girls are trying to fight, mimic her. But it wasn't just the fact that she could fight. She brought personality. So that's where the show is lacking now. This season, Baddies West was a pretty decent season as well, because yet again it was not a overflux. It wasn't too many cast members. It was a nice amount, not too many, not too little. However, this season is the first season where they started the beginning of bringing the same cast members continuously, which causes these cast members to start to feel above other cast members and feel as though they don't have to come on time, leaving randomly and barely arriving for filming, like Krishan. Krishan, it got to her head real fast. So she would stop showing up, and this would cause some of the conflicts as well, the produced conflicts. Speaking of Krishan, the idea of baddies really set in Natalie's heart when she seen Blueface mimicking his own version of Bad Girls Club called Blue Girls Club, which streams on YouTube too if you any of you guys want to watch it. So she also essentially buy bit off of Blueface, copy Blueface as well, and took Krishan, who was his star, to make her Zeus's new star. This season, Baddies West was when Krishan was just getting fed up with Natalie and I guess how she was treating her, and she slapped Natalie. And this has caused the whole commotion where Natalie went and took that anger out on Scotty. At this time, they always painted this narrative of Krishan being off her rocker, so we were all confused as to why Krishan did this. However, the fact that Natalie went and took this anger out on Scotty, and not only did she take the anger out on Scotty, but as the seasons continued to go on, we see more and more reasons why Krishan was justified in doing this. And Krishan is one of those people that sometimes in the moment you might not understand why she's doing it, but she gonna be ran about 10 circles around us by the time we be like, oh. So we also not gonna forget, this also the season where they started the ratchet, fake, fictitious, let's just call it fictitious auditions. This where they started to host these auditions, acting like they looking for new people and not even really picking the people. Because if, like, y'all not fooling us, come on, y'all not fooling us. Like, it's for an episode, exploitation. Yet another example. This was actually a decent season because it was very well put together. The cast was carefully picked. It was a good cast. And even the, what is it called, the little thing when the intro, even the intro was nice. It was, even the intro was nice. They had a real intro. Now they do the little Canva shit. Look like they made the intro on their phone. It helped me realize what Zeus is doing especially with the Baddies franchise. They are pushing these seasons out too fast. So it's not giving them time to perfect it, like how Baddies West. Baddies West was very, it was nicely produced. It was compared to the more recent seasons. And even, I feel like even the way that they edit the season needs to be an adjustment to this it. Season, they purposely cast specific people that they know will have conflict with each other, causing inauthentic and produced fights. So fights basically where the producers are influencing them to, well, either telling them that certain people got problems with them, like, stirring up the pot. Also, how they edit this show, it's just filmed like a vlog. They do a vlog style, it's minimal editing. So it's like versus Bad Girls Club. Their editing was very nice. It was, it took them some time to do. And also the beefs. The beefs on Bad Girls Club were just more sporadic. And at the end of the day, Bad Girls Club is nothing to glorify either. Like watching Bad Girls Club back, you realize how petty it was and like how stupid the stuff they was fighting over was. So it's like you realize the fact that these people made a spinoff called Baddies. What the helly? Like what the hell? Like, why are y'all making this show? Why? Like, y'all could have made anything else. Y'all could have made a spinoff of anything else. Y'all gonna make a spinoff of Bad Girls Club, like, and then not only that, but the spinoff is complete chaos. Like, that's the problem. So compared to Jocelyn's Cabaret, how Jocelyn made her show, that's why Natalie can't compare it. Jocelyn made her show, so Jocelyn know what her show is about. Natalie don't know what this show is about. She let them turn her show up. You know what I mean? That's why they don't respect her. She don't got no structure. What is baddies? What is a baddie? In this season, I'm not gonna lie, Stunner Girl was bullied, but Stunner Girl is a goddamn menace to society. I'm not gonna lie, like Stunner Girl was also an interesting personality on this show. But at the end of the day, I almost feel like she should have never been on here. And the fact that they brought this girl back, it's just like the downfall of baddies. Like, where is the structure? Like, so literally, Stunner Girl got the fighting on the jet, on the bus, Sprinter. She even was, I've heard it on the internet, allegedly, it was a pow pow out on this season, the last episode, and they said it was Stunner boyfriend. So that's what the internet said, y'all. That's what the internet said. Allegedly. Allegedly. They were just casting people with these dark, heavy spirits like Krishan and Stunner. Two girls you could tell been through much trauma with those heavy auras and presences. This season also is where they started this like bullying ritual. Well, the bullying been happening since the beginning. I feel like on ATL, Judy was got bullied. She always get bullied. But on South, Krishan, of course. On West, we could say Stunner. I want to say kind of Scotty too. On East, Biggie and T was bullied. On Caribbean, Bianca was bullied. Midwest, I want to say Summer was bullied. Slim was bullied. Shit, I feel like they need to change the name from baddies to bullies. You can even say on East Reunion, ET was bullied because she had to fight a lot of people, but she stood her ground. She stood her ground. Something else I wanted to mention about Baddies West is the cast and worker relations is starting to get obvious around this time. Like I said, Scotty Ben knew Natalie, and it seemed like they it was stuff going on around in the air around this time. And it was heavily produced fights this season, like Krishan versus Low. Also Razor and Scotty, when they fought, it was just so confusing. It didn't make sense what they said happened. Like it was just this weird energy around the fighting. This is also where Natalie starts to take advantage of her power and put her hands on Scotty. And it's just like, I feel as though Natalie, if you're going to put your hands on Scotty, fight everybody else too. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody else will fight you, fight them too. Nah, you're not just going to hit Scotty when you feel like hitting Scotty. Nah, let somebody else punch on you too. Like, what's going on? You're not going to be picking and choosing around this mouth. Y'all got favorites? This season reunion is also where Tommy started to bring her little weapons to different meetups because she already got the gist by this point. And this is the point, like, y'all can't sit up here and breed an environment for people to basically fight, and that's not the time that everybody on. Like, either this is boxing, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So like I said, this is the season where it just got turned out, and it's just like, so when is what's gonna be the turning point? Like, what's gonna be too much? Like, nothing is too much. Like, what's gonna be the time that we're gonna say, all right, it's getting out of hand now? Because Stunner Girl did a lot that season. So now we on to Baddies East, y'all. East was honestly my last true season that I watched because Caribbean, it just rubbed me the wrong way. But Baddies East was just a bully fest. I'm gonna just say that up front. It was a bully fest. T, Biggie, E.T., Smiley. So many people was bullied this season. It was crazy. And then in East, Scotty was done wrong. But I feel like at this point, she's okay with receiving what she's receiving. Like, she's okay with it. So, like, how you going to try to speak for somebody else? So this is also around the time where she starts to defend Natalie with her life. You know what I mean? And this is also the season where the huge cast starts. It is way too many cast members at this point, and by this point, how I said, people started to come back season after season. I feel like this season, a lot of these girls that came back shouldn't have came back because it's just like it started to get overwhelming seeing the same people plus too many new people. I feel like this is where it kind of they just kind of dropped the ball as well. And then, after East, it was a done. It was, a no brainer that these people was going to continuously come back season after season. Baddies West, the power went to Natalie's head, but this season, the power definitely went to Natalie's head. Um, this season it showed her true character when she snuck Camilla, and it also shows her envy because I feel like her real beef with Camilla is due to the fact that they both have been highly respected bad girls. She may feel threatened by Camilla because they have been chosen to host a bad girl show together at one point in time. Not only did she sneak Camilla, but it was heavy speculation of this fight being heavily edited, and she did it in a way that she had the upper hand. Camilla did not see that coming at all. Baddies East is where the brand just took a turn for the worse. Like I said, the cast was too large, and then the cast that got chosen, the cast wasn't as carefully picked as West. Like, for example, Taseki. The Taseki thing, like, I feel like we did end up liking her, but the way that Zeus went about it, I don't like the way that they went about it. At the end of the day, Zeus got in between some family stuff. So, they hyped the season up just to see Taseki fight, which looking back on, it's crazy because they don't portray the Malones in the best light. Like, every time when it comes to the Malones, they are being put on a pedestal for beating people whose fighting skills are not even on their level. Then make it seem like these girls are just some terror, as if y'all are not dangling this carrot in front of this bunny face. Because let's be for real, this show honestly doesn't even showcase these girls' true personalities because at the end of the day, I do feel as though Taseki is likable, which I know may be an unpopular opinion, but however, I feel as though she was on the fence being around these girls, she wasn't able to truly open up because it was such a weird environment. I feel as though I used to think Taseki was sneaky, but I feel as though Taseki is observant. This is also the season where you realize Natalie doesn't have the power that she claims because she had not been liking Krishan for while at this point, and now her sister Taseki is here. It's just about the ratings. By this point, they are just literally exploiting these girls for whatever they can. I think around this time is where the show just started to become clickbait, like Baddies East into Baddies Caribbean. It became clickbait. And then the whole Whoa Vicky thing didn't sit right with me. I just feel like by this point, Whoa Vicky, can you just leave us black people alone? Please, just go over there with the white people and do that, please. Just leave us alone. Why you keep messing with us? We're gonna touch on friendships and we're gonna touch on the Smiley situation. As far as the Smiley situation, at the end of the day, if she had a seizure, she didn't have a seizure. What was the point of airing that? Are we doctors? Are we nurses? Like, why would you air that to us? What do we need to see this girl having convulsions, foaming at the mouth? Like, what do we need to see this for? To determine if she being for real or not? Are y'all for real? Are y'all for real? I think by this point, this season, the fights became overrated. Like, Taseki fight was good. They ain't let her fight Natalie though, but the fights was overrated. So this season, we start to see more and more connections be broken. You know, Scotty and Natalie been going at it. Then we got Krishan and Taseki. They get into it. They break up. Like, you know, they on bad terms. Then we got Suki and Sapphire. They get into it. They was best friends. So it's this repetitive theme that keeps going on. And also, this was the season Krishan was pregnant. So it was just, that was rage bait in itself. And sort of clickbait. Because I feel as though they know that Krishan, I learned this a while ago, but Krishan as well as Blueface, they have like a cult following. So they know that dumb people are gonna watch whatever she do and bring the views that they looking for. But let's move on to Baddies Caribbean. Now, Baddies Caribbean was literally just a clickbait season. Baddies Caribbean by episode 4, 5, I wasn't interested. Like I couldn't watch it no more. It was boring. It was long. It was dragged out. It was drawn out. This season was a money grab. They just wanted to put something else out. They just wanted to throw another season out there. It was lame. Let's say it all together. 1, 2, 3. It was boring. Tomato, tomato. I've seen the social media post while this season was going on saying that the bullying on this season was just horrible. Like Bianca, I'm not sure exactly everything. I think like the newbies, it was just so weird. And they didn't even really let the newbies come in. Like the plot was lost by this point. And I'm going to touch on the Big Gretch situation real quick. All I got to say about Big Gretch is I just found it so weird how, okay, Jayla, you gonna stick up for us. All right, Jayla Luther King, you gonna stick up for us. You gonna fight for us. But how was your bestie Natalie? Like, it was just, it didn't make sense to me. Like, are we for real? We on a colorist show talking about somebody being racist? But nobody hopped on Natalie. Like, let me scratch my heat. What the, like, I'm real confused. The main good thing that we can say about Betty's Caribbean was that Diamond made a good portion of the season, even though it was like just boring. It's just like I said, she had a personality. You know, she had a good personality, and like I said about the show lacking personality, this season lacked so much personality. All these girls was just there for what? Okay, some of them had personality, Meatball or whatever, Tank, but the majority of them, it was just like dead weight. And the concept of how they do it, because like for example, it made me think of Love and Hip Hop, how they have a lot of cast members, but it's not like they're always meeting up together every time. You know, that takes away from the show because half of the time all these people are not needed. Y'all got all these people just standing there. For what? Is this some type of ceremony? And also what I realized about this show by this point, like how I just said Diamond, we got Diamond, but you can like somebody in the beginning of the season, you can like somebody in the beginning of the episode. By the end of the episode, you might hate them. By the end of the season, you might not like them like that no more. Like Diamond, we can all admit Diamond's a clout chaser. That reunion, Diamond, that's some deep. This is where it starts to get into the spiritual, and these girls are selling their souls. These girls have to do this for this money. She had to get her tooth knocked out for that money. She had to. Let's be for real. We all out here trying to make some money to pay our bills. You need money for everything. We all out here. And these girls, this is their career, quote unquote. They feel like they got to prove themselves. They feel like this is their source of income. They feel like this is the way they eating. You feel me? Like I feel like they gotta do this. No matter what it take, no matter if it's going against what they said they wasn't gonna do, no matter if it's breaking up their integrity, their morals, their values, they out here like vultures, baby. Diamond literally had the humiliation of the century. Will forever be known in the books by the girl that got knocked the hell. You know what I mean? Like she wanted to go down in history, y'all. Then the fact that they was overseas doing this just made it even worse. This is where it really just got out of control. You know, it was out of control by this point. This was been the downfall. The downfall was it. Now we're moving on to Midwest, where the slope is still going down steeply. So Baddies Midwest, in my opinion, overall rating of the season, it was a flop season. The reason why I say it was a flop season is because this season played on a lot of clickbait. They did a lot of advertising to get us to watch this just for it not to be as interesting as we was expecting it to be. Midwest was literally the fakest season yet. But this season they really used clickbait with Krishan's name and the conversation that her and Taseki had, the one thing that she said, they used that clickbait. They exploited that to the farthest extent in order to get us to watch this season. The idea of Krishan possibly being there, and also they got us to watch this season with the Tommy incident. But as far as Taseki and Krishan's incident, I feel as though the fact that they aired this as well, I've said this a few times throughout the video, like I don't know why they aired this, I don't know why they aired this, I really don't know why they aired this, but it shows how bottom of the barrel this content is. That's just like watching somebody drown. You know that they gonna drown, you just gonna sit there and watch them. Not just watch you drown, but pull out their phone too and be like, let's get you a good angle. And this just was not a conversation for TV, period. Honestly, these Zeus should have got them a counseling session, something. Them girls need much more than a check and a sit down to to hopefully plan for them to fight. You know what I mean? And I'm so grateful that they didn't fight. I'm so grateful that they had that respect for one another to not fight. But honestly, Krishan and Taseki, I thought about it and I'm just like, they have a deep rooted issue. Like that none of us probably can pinpoint. They got deep things, that's going on, and I feel like it wasn't Zeus's place to try to provoke something out of this. Zeus sit up here and exploits these girls. They literally will record these girls at their lowest, at times that they need anything but a camera being shoved in their face, at times where they are just at the rock bottom, and Zeus want to paint it as, oh, we being real, we being real. And this all I got, the last thing I got to say about the Krishan situation is being real gets you real consequences. And I'm going to just leave that there. That's all I got to say about Krishan in that situation. You've seen this reiterating theme happening a lot, but it will be two girls that fought. Like, for example, I seen this happen with, I believe it was Summer and Pretty P. They fought, And then that same episode, that same night, you see them standing next to each other. It's just like, is this edited? Is this scripted or what? So for the nerve of them to try to portray this as something being real and all of that, y'all, please, please cut it out. I also remember seeing this happen with Ivory and Lex. You know, they was fighting all season, and then at one point they was all right up next to each other right after they fought. It just seemed like a lot of the fights this season was scripted. Rolly and Slim wasn't scripted. Honestly, Rolly a bully. I stopped watching it after the first episode that Rolly fought Slim, and honestly, all I gotta say is like, how many times did you need to beat her up? We know you gonna win. How many times did you need to do it? Like Rolly, obviously, you got deep issues, and that's the thing about a bully. This reminds me of like the movie Bridge of Terabithia, where you just see the bully, you see their home life, and you like, oh, they going through it the worst. You know what I mean? Then you start to feel bad for the motherfucker that's bullying you, type stuff. Then we got the Dolly situation. Dolly was fighting all season injured, and it's just like, who? This a train wreck. The show's a train wreck. What did we need to see her in that condition on the floor for? You see the medic? Do y'all see the medic? Y'all learn body language. When I really think about it, I feel like they breaking some laws. This has got to be a law broken somewhere. They had to break the law because how you gonna show somebody in a medical state of like what like and unbeknownst to you they could just air it because you was there with them, like, or even if they did give you opportunity to air it, this just out of control. I don't even think I don't even know what more to say to explain this. Like this is just out of control. Why are we? This ain't no medical show. What's the plot? What's going on? Like this is the problem with the show. It's no real storyline. Everything's a storyline. Every true incident is a storyline. Any opportunity that they have with a tragic event is a storyline. Now we have the clickbait episode of the season. They made us wait. They clickbaited us to watch this season because Tommy came there and turned up, and they aired it too. And I'm so surprised they aired what they aired. And this is yet another situation that falls into the line of what I'm literally saying right now. So this was basically the most viewed episode, I'm pretty sure, and I just feel like honestly the fights are getting more and more brutal. I feel like it's really nothing good to come from this. But basically with more time what you're seeing is that these girls are willing to do anything for this check. Look at Tinkerbella and Rolly, what happened to them. And it's all good in the hood. Ain't nothing wrong. Yeah, another season. Let's go. Like what? Y'all playing with y'all lives like that? And they definitely not the only ones because they only trying to keep up with the new girls. The new girls is definitely out of control. The new girls most definitely would jump in when they say jump and say how high. Most definitely. The new girls, they do whatever. You could tell the ones that listen to production. Cause for one, they come back. And for two, they always in some mess. And then they bring a stunner girl back. Y'all, good luck, Charlie. But overall, for Baddies Midwest, I will say it's sad how they just willing to do anything for this check. Um, I feel like people like Big Lex are. It's sad that you came fresh out of college with a degree on a show so degrading as Baddies. And a lot of these people don't realize that it's going to be hard for you to get in with your degree when you're known on a show like this. Homegirl barely tried to use her degree before she said, well, I'm going to go on and go with my satchel on my back and try to find me some work. Girl, why would you mess up your life? It's like, but at this point, Baddies Midwest, I just feel like everybody's trying to be Krishan. Let's just face it, Krishan is the reason why a lot of people watched Baddies, and I feel like the hype is kind of done for Baddies. I feel like Baddies Africa is some more BS. Cause we already hear half of the drama that's going on. Basically, what it's seeming like for Baddies Africa is that these girls are fighting in front of the camera, and then behind the scenes they're really cool. How we were saying for Baddies Midwest. So Baddies Africa is going to be even more of this fakeness, and it just kind of takes the fun out of even watching the show. One of the last things that I had to say about Zeus and the auditions and Zeus in general is that it's interesting enough that Zeus is making money off of the underworld and the taboo things of the world. So as far as, don't take no offense to it, but just hear me out. The LGBT fighting, scrippers, etc. Plastic surgery, like all of the taboo things of the world, they are capitalizing off of it, and it's almost like you wanna. It kind of makes you jerk your head and be like, "What's your intention, though? What's your intention?" And this is what I'm gonna close out saying. I remember when I was going back doing my research for this video. I went back, Baddies East. Rolly was talking about Wo Vicky, and Rolly said, "Why is Wo Vicky here?" She said, "This is nothing godly about this show." She said, "We smoking, drinking, tearing each other down, and you sitting here talking about God. Like, this show, basically, let me just sum it up for y'all. This show is demonic." And the thing that gets me about people like Santana and Bobby is that these people are so here to watch the girls tear each other down, beat each other down from the flow up. And I can almost guarantee you, somebody like Santana won't get in that field though. Y'all so for seeing these girls fight over the drop of a dime. Are y'all really for the girls, or is this some type of secret animosity that I need to know about? Like, let me know something around there. This has been the downfall of Baddies. I feel like pretty much the downfall of Baddies was, I feel, Natalie. Natalie was the beginning, and also just the fact that this show doesn't reiterate the same theme as Bad Girls Club. Bad Girls Club, they were trying to become better. They were trying not to fight. They were trying to better themselves. They were taking anger management or had the life coach or whatever. Like Bad Girls Club, they were actively trying to become better, not self-destruct. And eventually over time, yes, the media gets the best, and it comes down to more views, and that's the problem. This show is too concerned about the views, the subscribers, the money, instead of worrying about the actual craft. They're too worried about the perception of looking good and seeming good instead of being good. Let me change that. They're too obsessed with the perception of being great instead of being great. I would like to thank all of you guys for watching. Make sure you stay engaged in the comments. Leave a comment, something that stuck out to you in the video, or even a video suggestion for the next topic I should talk about. If you guys enjoyed, Make sure y'all comment and stay engaged, like I said. And yeah, thanks for watching. I have one more clip coming up, which is Tanisha from Bad Girls Club spilling yet
Blueface
some
did
more
that. Remember, he
tea.
did the baddies thing. When they was doing that, Natalie was setting up to go down to Miami. Come, let me tell you the tea. So, Daryl, follow the story, who is Lemmy's right hand, right? Convinced Lemmy to go down to Miami to see what was going on. I'm gonna take off the comments so I get the story right? To see what was going on with he was like, no, you gotta get these girls. They would have started the Bad Girls Club. I've been telling you, whatever. Lemmy was skeptical. Okay, at the time, I think he might have had Jocelyn's Cabaret. I think so. Yes, I think he had Jocelyn's Cabaret. Yeah, I think so. So anyway, they go down to Miami, shit gets crazy, or whatever the case is, but Lemmy kind of sees, yo, they nuts. Like, yeah, we need to shoot this. So I think they do like that quick trailer thing. Okay, to make a long story short, Lemmy's still kind of skeptical. Lemmy starts asking around. Of course, his family's like, yeah, we know Tanisha. Tanisha's like the star of that show. You know, she was a breakout star. People love the Bad Girls Club. Definitely take a chance on it, whatever. Whole time, old boy's falling in love with Scamily. They know each other forever, okay? And I guess Scamily gets wind of this, and I ain't gonna dig too much, but stuff pops off. But so anyway, they work out some sort of a deal. He pushes for it, Daryl, and Natalie gets season 1, right? I end up coming on board. Y'all remember that whole thing? Yeah, so from the moment I got there, I could tell this nigga, he wanted to die for her. Literally wanted her to leave her marriage and everything. Like, he was in, like, when I talk about in love. Yeah, and the tea is until Tommy and another one of the baddies allegedly through the grapevine, one of them was messing with him, and allegedly so did Tommy. And that's what really is what the beef was about between Tommy and them. Like, they go way back. Yo, if I really spill this fucking tea, blow this whole shit up. You hear me? She got beat up, and it was up between her and Tommy after that. So anyway, I don't know this this is all alleged, but I will say this, okay? My sources are pretty valid, and my sources is still in that. My source who told me all of this, besides what I already knew, is still in that circle. So I have an inkling that a lot of it is true. And I know for sure the Daryl stuff was true because, well, I saw it. I was there. And here's the thing. I don't know if you know him. He should have been the boss to me. Because he, to me, is the brain. And he's so fucking talented and fine and whatever. But fucking madly in love with that girl. Literally told me at the reunion, outside of the fucking Dream Hotel, that he would die for Natalie. I said, what? He was like, I'll die for her. I'll take a bullet for her. I said, what the fuck? What's going on? Like, you know she married? The fuck is going on? Anyway, well, but this ain't no tea. Let me tell you. Hold on. Just listen. For as long as I know Miss Nunn, the madam, men go nuts over her. I don't know what she's doing to them. Okay? I don't know. But every man I have ever known to get close to that girl goes crazy. Nuts. Okay? All right? Jacob ain't going nowhere. Please, Jacob watching and laughing. They have an arrangement. Okay? I'm sure. And she did exactly what she said she was going to do. But niggas love her. They love her. I don't know what she's doing. I asked her to show me. I said, let me see the soap you're using. Show me the tricks you be doing. I said, show it to me, sis, because the way they go nuts, I mean, they kind of go nuts over me too, mine, but not the way they go nuts for her. You know? Yeah. Why the fuck you atting her? Now I'm going to block you. You see that? That's what I don't like. Why you atting her in this live? Why you going to do, and you a guy too. Blocked. Let's block you. Messy as fuck. Damn it, I can't tell a story without y'all being, what you say? Maybe it's her personality. I mean, listen, you know I always tell you, I will never tell you a lie. She's one of the most funnest people that I've ever encountered. She's really fun. She's the life of the party. She knows how to party. Blueface did that.